Invictus, William Ernest Henley. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Basically, what this poem is saying, in a translationary manner, out of pure darkness and horror, I thank the gods that I have my life. In the worst times, I have not shown weakness. Under the worst times, I have been beaten, but I have not given up. Beyond my suffering looms the horror of the past, but none of it has found or will find me scared. No matter what, I am in control of my own life. This poem is about someone who has suffered a lot, but will never give up because they are in control of their own life. It's a poem about perseverance and suffering. For me, this poem is something that inspires me to keep going when I'm extremely depressed. Nowadays, this poem reminds me that I can control only myself and go with the flow, and I can't control other people. I can't control the world around me. I can't control coronavirus, is the biggest one for me right now. Looking deeper at the poem, I analyzed the meter throughout it, and I found that it starts in trochaic tetrameter, but around the section, line 5, in the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. It goes from trochaic to iambic tetrameter and continues that way for the rest of the poem. The first two lines are very interesting because out of the night and black as the pit, it's a trochee followed by an iamb, a trochee followed by an iamb. And after that, it stays in trochaic tetrameter for a little while. And then, as I said in line 5, it turns to iambic tetrameter for the rest of the poem. Additionally, there are 4 stanzas with 4 lines in each, and it has an ABAB rhyme scheme throughout that changes from stanza to stanza. While typically like a strict rhyme scheme would make things a little bit more comical, I think this makes it, like, in addition to the meter, makes it a lot, I guess in a way, memorable and catchy to keep memorized in your mind, to continue to remind you that I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul. So I think this was a very deliberate action to make sure that people who read and recited this poem would remember it word for word and would be able to recall this in their mind and in their soul. There's only a couple of words or phrases that most people would be confused by, and those would be in line 5, in the fell clutch of circumstance. I didn't understand this very well the very first time I read this, but the way I understand it, the way that it was explained to me, was that the fell clutch of circumstance is the worst times. So, in the fell clutch of circumstances just basically means I am in my worst times. Another one that is often not understood is in line 2, where it says, black as the pit from pole to pole. A lot of people interpret this as hell or an underworld where everything is terrible and dark and you can't really find your way around. Another one is in line 7, under the bludgeonings of chance. A lot of people don't know what bludgeonings means, and it's basically just being beaten down. So, under the beatings of chance basically means that chance has stuck you in the rear with a big, firm knife, and you're kind of getting the shaft on a lot of things. Another one would be in line 10, looms, but the horror of the shade. This one I know confused a lot of people in my choir class, where I actually heard this poem for the first time. I heard this as a piece that I actually was singing in high school, which was reasonably called Invictus. And I will attach a little link to the video where there's a choir singing it, because I think it's a very impactful song. And it's stuck with me all these years. So I think it's been something pretty good to stick with me. But looms, but the horror of the shade simply refers to the horror of the past. So the horror of the shade is the horror of the past. So looms, but the horror of the shade is just all of the past that haunts you, looming over the top of, like, over your shoulder like a dark cloud. Additionally, there's this weird set of lines in lines 13 and 14. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I still am not super sure about this, but it matters not how straight the gate refers to back to the word straight, which is a narrow passage of water, such as the Strait of Gibraltar. And it basically is just saying it matters not how narrow the passage. How charged with punishments the scroll refers to, like, if you think about if you're being convicted of something in court, there's always the list of charges. And I think that's what this is referring to, is just like the punishments of the scroll refers to the punishments for your charges. So it doesn't matter how much you're being punished for the past. And then it refers to the next two lines, I am in control of my own life. So no matter what, just both of those lines condensed mean no matter what. So it doesn't matter how bad things get, no matter what, I am in control of my own life.